It was hard to put a finger on it, but something seemed slightly off 5 years ago as Jim and Nell Hamm were completing a hike through pristine Prairie Creek Redwood State Park. The Humboldt County woods seemed unusually quiet, they said, perhaps a bit spooky that fateful afternoon on January 24, 2007, when Jim heard a gravelly sound and looked behind him. In the air, its claws straight out in front, was a mountain lion flying toward his head. He said he instinctively ducked to his left, and the lion flew by, landing on the trail. The cougar quickly turned and gathered itself for another lunge. There he was, face to face with a puma. "That's when I realized I was going to have to fight this thing," said Hamm, now 75, recalling the attack. "I figured I would fight it like I would fight a dog attacking me." What happened next would change their lives forever. Studies show California has more cougars now, an estimated 4,000 to 6,000, than it did almost a century ago. In 1920, there were about 600. Still, mountain lion attacks on humans are rare. Only 16 verified attacks have occurred in California since 1890. 6 were fatal. When the puma lunged, Jim Hamm thrust out his arm and the 80-pound female lion grabbed it. "I was going to try to hit it in the throat with the other arm," he said, but the puma pulled him to the ground by his arm and clamped down on his head, ripping a huge chunk off his scalp. "It was like somebody hit me with a baseball bat," he said. "I was dazed. Then I heard my wife yelling for me to fight." Nell Hamm, 71, had been 20 feet in front when she heard her husband shriek in pain. "It was a desperate, horrible sound like something I've never heard before," she said. "I turned around, and the lion was lying on the ground with Jim's head in its mouth." She picked up an 8-foot-long tree limb, ran up to the lion, and began pounding its midsection. She didn't even flinch, so all I could do was keep hitting and telling him, "Fight, Jim, fight," said Nell. "It was horrible. You can't imagine the horror of such a thing." Her husband, meanwhile, kept his hand in the lion's mouth, holding its tongue, jamming a finger up its nose and pushing back as the lion bit his face and attempted to move its jaws down to his neck. At one point, he instructed his wife to dig a pen out of his pocket and jam it in the lion's eye. She got the pen, but it broke when she tried to poke the lion. Meanwhile, the lion continued holding on, its eyes closed, apparently waiting for Jim to die. Desperate, Nell rammed the limb into the cougar's head, causing it to jump back, apparently aware for the first time that Nell was there. The lion stood crouching about 8 feet away, its ears down, appearing ready to pounce. "I knew she was going to attack. I said, 'She's got me, Jim,'" Nell said. "That's when I put the limb over my head and screamed as loud as I could. The lion got up then and just walked away." The attack, which they estimate lasted for about 6 minutes, an eternity under the circumstances, was over, but the Hamms were sure the lion would return. They struggled together back to the road to find help as Jim bled profusely from the giant wounds on his head. One van, apparently thinking she was crazy, zoomed away as she screamed for help, but finally park officials arrived and got him to a hospital. 2 juvenile lions, a male and female, were later tracked down in the same area and put down. Jim Hamm's blood was found in the claws of the female, whose male sibling probably watched, experts say, but did not participate in the attack. Jim almost died from his infections and had to be flown to California Pacific Medical Center in San Francisco for treatment. The couple, who had both recently retired and moved from Southern California to the Humboldt County town of Fortuna, spent their 50th wedding anniversary in the hospital in February 2007, but Jim eventually recovered. He now has a large scar on his scalp, minor scarring on his face, and some finger damage, but little else to show for his near-death experience. He is still alive, experts say, because the couple did not try to run away and never lost their cool. The Hamms now regularly give talks and instruct hikers on the importance of outdoor awareness and of hiking in groups, carrying plenty of water and keeping children on the trail close by. They still hike together on the same 10-mile loop at Prairie Creek where the attack occurred. It is something that took Jim a little while to get used to. "Puma attacks," he said, are very rare, but you don't feel it's very rare when you are the victim. Nell, who has received awards for her heroism, including being named Woman of the Year in her legislative district in 2007, said she just did what she had to do to save her husband's life and does not like being called a hero. You learn from everything in life, whether it's good or bad, and hopefully you become a better person because of it, she said. I learned that life is very, very precious. Obviously, she's my hero, Jim said of his wife. Doing what you have to do, what you need to do, is the definition of a hero. Thanks for watching.